The Last Dance is once again upon us, and this time it's episode 7. A lot of interesting things happened in this episode. It went from a very, very, very bad turn things took in this episode, and a lot of things that the media has said really, really baffles me till this day, man. So let's talk about it. What's up, everybody? It's the Sports Code, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. This is the Last Dance review, episode 7. Man, we're getting very, very close to the end of this documentary, man. I don't know how you guys are feeling, but I feel very, very informed about how things have went through Michael Jordan's career. More informed than I could have possibly ever have imagined. And yeah, man, I'm really enjoying this. So before we get started, please like and subscribe, turn notifications on to see more of The Last Dance, more documentary reviews. We've obviously got episode 8, which will come out tomorrow. I'm not going to do it today, unfortunately, but nevertheless, let's get into the news, man. Let's get into this episode. So it basically started off with a Jerry Krause interview, to which a question said, is there any backstabbing going on? How do you feel about the backstabbing going on between you and Phil, MJ, all of the Bulls? And Jerry Krause basically left that interview and said, I can't believe you'd even say that there's backstabbing going on and all of this, and he walked away. And it mentioned, it goes straight into the Bulls versus the Nets, the very first game, to which Michael Jordan and the Bulls found it very difficult, went to overtime, but they ended up holding off the Brooklyn Nets. And it kind of showed that Michael Jordan was exhausted mentally, just back how he was in 1993. What happened in 1993, we're about to find out. So it goes straight into that 1993 off-season, really, after the Bulls won the championship, and it showed how mentally exhausted Michael Jordan was, how physically exhausted Michael Jordan was. But it also showed something very unique, and it was his relationship with his father, who was there to see his last game and see all of the games possible that he could have had. And it showed that they had a great relationship, that he was there to help him, and they were the best of friends. And Michael Jordan even said that himself. He was almost like a friend, not really a father. And then it obviously went to further on down that off season. It went to his father being murdered and robbed, which is shocking. It's inexcusable, and it should never happen to anybody, and it sucks that it had to happen to Michael Jordan, and obviously them having a close relationship. The media puts it in the public eye because Michael Jordan's a public figure, he's an inspiration, so anything that happens towards Michael Jordan will be reported. And at the end of the day, this is not necessarily something that it shouldn't just happen to celebrities. This should not be happening in general. Things like this, even till this day, man, it's still happening. People are robbing and murdering, and it's not getting any better, is it? So there's just some sick people out there, and at the end of the day, that's Michael Jordan had to face the brunt of that, and that's some really tough things to go through. And the media did not make it any better. And one of the things that really, really got me very, very rolled up while watching this was how the media linked Michael Jordan's gambling issues to his dad's death, and somehow making it Michael Jordan's fault that his dad passed away, which is, to me, inexcusable, man. And this is what gets me about the media. This does not look good on the media at all. Whether it's today, back then, things don't change, man. Media has not changed. They try to get the worst out of people. They try to make people look as bad as possible. The only reason people do this is to get their clicks, to get their views, to get their articles read, to make people believe in these conspiracy theories that there's no proof, there's no evidence, there's nothing to back up what they're saying. And I have a strong hatred for media outlets like that only speak on the negative without actually having proof of any negative things that Michael Jordan did to demonstrate he was at fault for the death of his father. It's stupid. That's what I think. And a lot of people in the media that were doing this interview backed that up, or how stupid that article was. So whoever wrote that article, man, That's a big shame on you, honestly. Whoever that is, that's a big shame on you for even trying to link those two situations together. That's so bad, man. And that's not all that the media did, man. There's more. We'll keep going. So speaking of that, obviously Michael Jordan didn't like it. He thought it was outrageous that he would people would even think of something like that and put his dad's death on him. That's so stupid. But he said, like, these are people that don't know me. These are people that just think just want me to fail, want me to become bad, don't want me to win again. And all the haters of Michael Jordan ended up getting something out that was beyond belief. But nevertheless, something led to another, and Michael Jordan was considering retirement now. This is in 1993, by the way. He's considering retirement. He's considering retiring from the game of basketball to go and pursue his love for baseball. However, at the time, he didn't know if he was going to play baseball, but he just wanted to retire. He had no will or motivation towards the game. Mentally, he was done. Physically, he had nothing left to prove. He wanted to leave, and he wanted to be left out of the game of basketball, man. And by doing this, he shocked the world. Like, the world was genuinely stunned by that decision, that he wanted to retire. He didn't want to play basketball. The Bulls, everybody was retired, and people were saying that this is one of the saddest times as a basketball player. And I think to an extent, it is definitely sad when someone decides to hang up their boots, especially at the age of 31. It didn't need to happen, really. It didn't really need to be like that. But it did happen. And the NBA did lose a very, 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 if not their greatest asset that they've ever had, because he's lost motivation to play the game. And it's going to happen to everybody, isn't it? I mean, sooner or later, LeBron is going to retire because he doesn't have the passion that he once did, or he just can't simply do what he can now. And people are going to feel the exact same way. It is what it is, man. This is what happens when the greats leave that game. Happened to Kobe as well. No one wanted Kobe to leave, but he left. And it just feels the same. And for Michael Jordan, I think everybody was more stunned because of the way that he retired. But yeah, like he ended up retiring. But people didn't stop there, and neither did the media. And this episode is the truth about the media, man, because they blow everything out of proportion. All these conspiracy theories, they linked Michael Jordan's quote-unquote retirement to his gambling addiction again. So this is the first time with his dad's death, and the second one for his retirement, saying that David Stern secretly suspended Michael Jordan for his gambling addiction for 2 years, or whatever the case may be, until he came back, which is silly, man. Oh my God. David Stern and Michael Jordan have both come out and said this isn't true. Many people close to Michael Jordan, close to the NBA, have said this isn't true. This is one media outlet or two media outlets calling out and putting a conspiracy theory out there to make people believe it, and people genuinely believe that, which is I feel sorry for those people, because they've been robbed out of liking a guy based on what other people have to say that isn't true. And again, the media has taken has made someone look extremely worse than what they are. Yes, you can call Michael Jordan a lot of things. You can call him a bad player, not a bad player. You can call him a bad teammate. You can call him a prick. You can call him whatever you want. That's your opinion. That's the attitude you have towards him. But it has to be based on evidence, man. Punching Steve Kerr or ridiculing your teammates, that's your evidence right there to make an opinion on the player. And for the reasons why and why he didn't do these things, that's up to you as well. But it has to be the truth. Saying that he's retiring or he's getting suspended from gambling wasn't true. So you can't make an opinion based on something that you don't know. Same with his dad's death. And the media need to understand that, but they don't, because they want their money. They don't care about reasonings. They're gonna write the story that will get the clicks, and it's something that still hasn't changed to this day, which is very, very sad. But anyway, yeah. He goes on to saying he has a press conference, and he says, I'm not going to close the door on returning to the NBA. I love the game of basketball, and if it's something that I want to do down the line, I will never close that door, is what he's saying. And basically, again, he's leaving the door open for himself if anything goes wrong, or in case he has something to prove in basketball, which is it's just something that it happened. He retired, but he's not ruling it out, and it gave people some hope, I would say, but most people didn't think he was going to come back. Once you retire, you usually stay retired. MJ's probably the only outlier in that statement. I'm not sure if there are any more, but if there is, let me know. But for the most part, MJ's the most popular outlier for sure. So he ended up signing for the Chicago White Sox in obviously for the baseball. He didn't make the major league, I'm pretty sure, but they went on to his baseball dream, and he said this for years before he even retired, that he wanted to go play baseball, that he might go play baseball, that it's his dream, it's his father's dream, and that was the last conversation they actually ever had, was him saying, I want to go play baseball, and his father saying, do it. So he did it. He went to go and play baseball. He made the minor leagues, and he did fairly good. And fans, despite whether it's baseball, it could have been ping pong, it could have been darts. Everybody's going to watch Michael Jordan play sports. It is what it is. So baseball got a big hit from this, and baseball is one of the most popular sports, if not the popular sport in America. It is. I don't know much about. I live in Australia, so I don't know too much about baseball. I know it's very fun to play. It's better than cricket, that's for sure. But yeah, but for me, it's not one of the biggest sports in the world or in Australia, because we don't play it really. We don't have much of a baseball knowledge. But in America, it's very big over there. So of course, fans couldn't get enough of him. All of the fans were selling out these arenas to watch Michael Jordan play. And this is not even the major league. This isn't the biggest league, but yet it's selling out arenas to watch him play. And yeah, and he ended up being a rather decent player. You know, he went from being a good player. I think he had a 13 hit streak in April, to then end up being terrible, and people, again, the media abused the hell out of him. And then here he comes again, Sports Illustrated, saying that Michael Jordan is an embarrassment to baseball. So look, there's no such thing, unless you completely disrespect and disregard the rules or do something beyond forgiveness. I don't think there's anything called a disgrace in sports besides those things. If you break the rules heavily, if you end up doing something you shouldn't be doing, or you end up doing something outside of the sport that puts bad reputation on the sport, then yes, there is a disgrace. But just playing the game and not being as good as other people does not mean you're a disgrace. And people use that term so loosely, just because, for example, J.R. Smith, right? When he didn't get that shot up against the Cavs versus the Warriors, people called him a disgrace to basketball because he didn't know that situation. There's no such thing as a disgrace to basketball. There's no such thing as a disgrace to baseball. If J.R. Smith ended up throwing the ball to a fan or going punching someone like Ron Artest in the crowd, then yes, that's a disgrace to basketball. But just not being aware of a situation and then end up missing an opportunity to win a game, that's not a disgrace. It never is a disgrace. So Michael Jordan playing baseball is not a disgrace to the sports, and it never ever should be considered that, because he's following his dream, and he's been given the opportunity by some other team, by the Chicago White Sox, to follow his dream. That's not a disgrace. That's anything but a disgrace. And again, his hard work and his mentality proved them wrong, just like always, really. And he ended up being a fairly good player. I think he had a hell of an end of the season, and I think he got a 200 run, which was again very, very good. But it kind of went off from there. This episode, he still remained with the Chicago White Sox. It doesn't really mention him anywhere near the 1993-1994 team, and it goes back to 1998, and it goes back to his trash talking his players. So this is proper evidence where you can make a judgment on what you think Michael Jordan is, the way that he treated his teammates, because it's been backed up by his teammates, and it's even been backed up by him and his reasoning behind it. So he targeted Scott Burrell, who was a player that was very, very talented, but Michael Jordan said he lacked leadership and inspiration and lacked dedication to the game, which is something that he doesn't accept. So he pushed Scott Burrell, and he's pushed him every day to get that passion and that desire to play basketball every single day, which was, he even said it's his personal mission. And Scott Burrell, he took it like a man. He took anything that was dished out and he handled it. He dealt with it, and that's a professional. That's what you're supposed to do. And it just, for me, when people say he was an asshole, he was a prick, sorry for swearing, but all these things were part of the documentary. Yeah, I can agree with that. I can agree that he probably did a lot of things he shouldn't have done. He did things that just wouldn't fly in today's NBA. But there's always a reason behind doing something like that. His intention is not to humiliate someone. His intention is not to make someone less of what they are. He's only trying to push them to win a championship. And he even said that at the end of the documentary. Well, I'm kind of skipping a bit, but he said that he's here to, he wants to win a championship, but he wants his teammates to win the championship too, not just him. So yeah, but anyway, it goes back to the 1993-1994 playoffs, and it goes back to the I think it was the Eastern Conference Finals, where with the Knicks, or one of the conference finals with the Knicks and the Chicago Bulls in the 1993-1994 playoffs. And they talk about how the Bulls were in a situation where they had to win and get a very, very good confidence boost in order to beat New York, because New York were up 2-0. And it mentioned the Game 3, where Scottie Pippen was having a standout year, man. And he was having an MVP type season. But the final shot of that game, where they needed Scottie Pippen the most, he wasn't taking the last shot. It was Tony Kukoc, who was known to make a lot of buzzer beater type plays in that season. He had a lot of shots in that season from the same way. And Scottie Pippen said that he wanted the last shot. He was insulted that he didn't get that last shot. And therefore he quit on the team, basically. He said, I'm not playing this final possession. Even if he was just inbounding the ball, he said, I'm not playing. I felt insulted that I didn't get that last shot. And eventually he would regret that. But Tony Kukoc made that shot and the Bulls went on to win the game. But the damage was already done, really, from this, because everybody knew that if Scottie Pippen quit on his team, that's their leader. So if he was, even if it was out of character, if he did something like that, that would affect the team dramatically, and it did. And they mentioned the Bill Cartwright speech, where basically he was saying, we were shocked that you did that. We were shocked that you just quit on the team because you're bigger than basketball, and all of this. And that speech inspired and also brought a lot of emotion to a team where they were down, man, and they needed their best. And unfortunately, I think that speech may have brought everything together a little bit more, but that series was down the drain because they ended up losing it 4-2. So they did win another game, but look, at the end of the day, that quitting on the team kind of ended the series. I mean, the team, how could the team be together if their best player would have quit on them? And yeah, and that's how the series kind of ended. It also talked about how the Michael Jordan is a good teammate, and they played very, and he even though he didn't necessarily use his great ability to lead in the best way possible in today's NBA, back then he was considered all these things, but he was doing it for the right reasons, and that's kind of how things led and ended. So that's episode 7, man. Episode 8, gonna be interesting to watch, man. I'm looking forward to it. Things are getting interesting, man. I can't wait to see what's gonna happen. How is he gonna return to the game of basketball, and all of these, man. It's gonna be interesting. So I want to thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Turn notifications on. Share the video. Share the playlist. From 1 to 7, man. There's been a good review so far, and we're getting very, very close to the end, man. I'm gonna miss this. Anyway, have a wonderful, safe day. Take care.